see that we're rolling around to 7, so I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. Thank you so much all for joining us tonight for this beer tasting event with Wenatchee Valley Brewing. Tonight, we're joined by Renee Perkins with the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society. We also have 2 team members joining us from Wenatchee Valley Brewing, Peter, lead brewer, and Thomas. We got together last time with Wenatchee Valley Brewing in June, and we learned that Peter and Thomas actually run their own game show. Usually it's just an imaginary one going on entirely in their heads, but tonight we get to join in on the fun, complete with trivia and prizes, and I'm really excited about it. Before we get started tasting, I want to just take a moment to thank Wenatchee Valley Brewing for partnering with us on this event. They have generously donated not some, but all of the proceeds from tonight's event to the museum and to the Humane Society. So thank you for purchasing tickets to this event and for participating at home and for your support for the museum and the Humane Society. I also want to share some really exciting news. Maybe you heard us chatting about it before we started, but Chelan County moved to phase 2. Yay! This means that I get the pleasure of sharing that the museum's doors are reopening starting on Tuesday. And I'd like to invite you all to come see our new featured exhibit celebrating the centennial of women's suffrage next week. I also want to welcome our members. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thanks to our members and community for your continued support for the museum. For those of you who aren't members, I invite you to join us. We've got great virtual events, online classes, virtual tours, new rotating exhibits, educational programs, and fun community events year-round. Here at the museum, our job is to gather with our community, to engage and to educate. And sometimes what the community needs is to meet over a beer. So thanks for logging in for this virtual happy hour tonight to join us for beer and community. Before the game show kicks off, I want to invite Renee to say a few words of thanks from the Humane Society, and then we'll pass it over to Peter and Thomas to get us tasting.
Thanks, Kristen. We love our nonprofit counterparts in the community. So this has been really great to get to work on this event with you and everybody from the museum. So thank you for having us be part of your Made in Wenatchee series. And thank you, Thomas and Peter and Dan at Wenatchee Valley Brewing for their partnership for this really fun event. As most people know, the Humane Society is known for the best place to go for pet adoptions in the community, but our team does so much more. So I just wanted to share a few important things that the shelter does for the community, so you can pass that information along to maybe people who might need it. We have an on-site vet staff, which is fantastic. They're able to provide more medical care to homeless animals than ever before. So giving second chances to so many animals in the past who wouldn't have had that opportunity. So it's really nice. On top of that, they also provide public low-cost spay neuter services. But it's not just about homeless animals. We do so many programs designed to keep people and pets together, like our spay neuter program. We also have a pet pantry food bank for those who may be experiencing temporary food insecurity for their pet. And we do disaster boarding, like with the recent fires in our neighbors in Okanagan. We also have vaccination clinics and other needs. If you have supply needs or things like that, give us a call. We can try to help for that. We're here for homeless pets and people who love them, and we're able to do all this because of people like you all who are joining us tonight. So thank you so much for your support, and thank you for being here.
Wonderful. Thanks, Renee. Well, I'm so glad you were able to join us. It gave Renee and I a good excuse to chat recently as we were planning for this event, so that was fun. But without further ado, let's get us tasting. I'm going to pass it over to Peter and Tommy to explain the trivia and how we're doing prizes and get us started.
All righty. Well, thank you very much, Kristen and Renee. We're very excited to be here. So without further ado, as you said, welcome to Who Wants to Beer a Millionaire?
You couldn't even quite get through that, and I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, say that 10 times fast.
Yeah.
So the way that the game is going to work is we're going to get to drinking some beers, and as we go, we're going to ask some trivia questions worth between 1 and 3 points. And when we ask them, I'll be given the trivia questions, and Jill will be putting it in the comments for everybody to read. And whoever has the first correct answer will be awarded the points. At the end of this little showing here, we're going to go back through and find the top 3 points winners, and they will be awarded $25, $20, and $15 gift cards to Wenatchee Valley Brewing.
Real quick,
That's pretty sweet.
What was that, Tommy?
Am I eligible?
No.
Oh. Okay, well, I'm
Tell
just
me
gonna leave. See you later.
You wouldn't win anyways. These questions are way too hard.
Okay, wait, so I can't win. How can I? I'm not that bright anyway.
We won't
Okay,
get into
so
that.
let's get down to it. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is beer tasting. So just like with wine, there is a proper way to do it. The difference there is that there is not actually a wrong way to drink beer, unless you're spitting it out, of course. So don't do that. To start with, I believe everybody was given a tulip glass. So tonight, it'd be nice if all of us are drinking out of the tulip glass. This glassware is designed specifically for drinking beer. And the main reason here is because of the shape, right? So when you put a beer in here and you go to take a sip, the aromas are funneled up into your nose. And for those of you who don't know, aroma makes up 70 to 80% of what you taste. So it's very important to be getting those smells as you're drinking in order to get the full effect of the flavor.
I mean this in the best possible way, but I think beer a lot of times smells like feet. So I'm really excited to get my nose up in there.
Oh, those feet.
Well,
That's something like those smell like some good, tasting feet.
Good
I'm into.
feet though, right? Yeah.
I'm into it.
So let's go over a couple of quick tactics for tasting beer before we get down and dirty. The first thing I want to talk about is called the, what do we call it? The drive-by. All right, so you're going to put beer in your glass. Now, when you put beer in your glass, you're going to want a small amount of foam, and that foam is actually going to release a lot of the aromas that you're going to get when you taste the beer. It also works to help insulate the beer from temperature as well as seal in carbonation, so it's important you get about a finger's width of foam. And if you don't, go ahead and swirl your glass a little bit, stir it up, and you'll see that foam start to appear. So the drive-by is we're going to take our beer and we're going to pass it underneath our chin. And as we do that, you're going to inhale through your nose. All right, and this is going to get you your first sense of the aromas from the beer. Once we're done with our drive-by, we'll do what we call the Hound Dog. All right, and that's when you're going to stick your nose into your glass and you're going to kind of do a couple of quick sniffs, just like a hound dog does when he's on the scent, tracking down a rabbit or something.
Are these
Right.
technical terms, Peter?
No, I made these up.
No, these are principles of how to taste beer. However you want to describe them, there are different ways to get different aromas. The same way that you would do this with wine when you see swirls, sniff, switch, and spit, right? Sip, switch, and spit. Same principle. We're just trying to bring out different flavors, different aromas, give you the fullest flavor of the beer. Now, if you just want to drink it, by all means. Like I will never tell somebody that you have to do this every time you drink a beer. But just because we're, drinking out of the right glass and we're doing this, we're going for it.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
This is legit. We're only legit here, Renee.
So now that we've gotten the full effect of our aroma, we're going to finally get a chance to taste the beer. All right, so we've done our Hound Dog, we've done our drive-by. Next thing we're going to do is get a little swig into our mouth, and you're going to kind of swirl it around. And the idea here is to cover every part of your mouth. So different parts of your mouth are going to taste different things. In the cheeks, the sides of your tongues, the tips of your tongue, back of your mouth. So that's the idea, is to get all of those flavors intermixed, right? And then we can swallow. And then from there, it's basic drinking. Take a sip, exhale as you swallow, and you're going to try to get the full effect of that flavor.
I love it. Let's get started. What do we start with tonight, Peter?
So Tommy, I have decided that we should actually start with the Shocker as the lightest beer. When you do tasting, it's always best to start lightest and then go to heaviest and darkest. And the reason is those hoppier and heavier beers kind of destroy your palate. So we're going to start with the Shocker Wheat, which is our lightest beer on the panel tonight. And I'm going to pass it off to Tommy, who's going to guide us through this.
All right. So normally you'd fill up your glass, all the way, or you can right now. If you want to drink 4 beers in 40 minutes or an hour or whatever, go for it. You're at home, you're safe, don't drive. So a little bit of beer in here. Make sure that you get that little bit of head in there. Just that's part of the, again, like Peter said, it helps with the aroma, but it also is fun to have the texture, especially if you got a big old brewery mustachio like Peter and I do. It's always classic to have a little bit left over there. So even before we start to see or smell and get into the tasting, we want to hold it up to the light, see how it reflects, how clear is the beer, what color is it. Just based on that, we can tell a lot about what the beer is. I can tell you it's not a stout right now. It's not a brown. It's not an amber. I know that it's at least something that's using a light malt. After that, we're going to make sure that it's clear or not. Either it's filtered beer or it's not. This is an unfiltered one, but even though it's unfiltered, it still has a tendency to be a little bit clearer. Yeah, just making sure that's reacting with the light and seeing what kind of color it is. I mean, this one's a pretty beautiful gold, if you ask me. But once you've done that, you get your little swirl going, make sure you have your foam, and then we can do our drive-by. And with this, you're probably going to be getting a lot of smells of some biscuity, some bread, something similar to that. This is a very malty beer with not a lot of bitterness necessarily. You're not going to get a lot of the floral or even earthy flavors that we're going to get with the other ones. So we do our drive-by, get your Hound Dog in there. Again, this is going to be pretty standard with this guy. Going to be nice and bready, nice and crisp as we can smell there. Then after that, little sip. And then you're going to notice again that, like Peter said, the aroma is going to give us the first hint of our flavor, going down a lot like bread. But for me personally, I also get a little bit of lemongrass with this. Let's see, what else we got?
So by all means, as we go through this, if you want to leave your comments, tell us what you're smelling, tell us what you're tasting. Go ahead and put it in the comment section. We love to see that feedback, and it's fun to see how different people have different tastes and different smells on the same beer.
Yeah, and that's the other fun part about this. Last time we did this with Kristen, we had her do one of the tastings. We had her give us her flavor.
And I was sweating bullets. Can we make Renee do it this time?
Yes, sure. But that's why I'm bringing this up, because everybody's palate is different. When we measure how bitter a beer is, it's on a scale of 1 to 100. Yeah, a little bit of citrus. Yeah, a little bit of lemon. We actually like to garnish this with a lemon. It really helps bring that out too.
Okay, so I have a question for you guys. Did you guys know that that Waterville grows a lot of wheat, right? And they call their high school is the Waterville Shockers. Is this a local wheat?
Peter, take it away.
Yes, it is. One of the part owners of the brewery actually has a wheat farm up in Waterville, and about 15 or 20% of the grain bill that we use is unmalted wheat straight from his silos.
That's
which actually,
very cool.
That is
this
very
is
awesome.
a good segue into my first trivia question. Jill, question 1 here. This is worth 1 point. The first answer, who can tell me what is a shocker?
And then real quick, I saw somebody say that they were having a problem with getting their beer to foam. If you would like your beer to get a little bit foamier, pour it from a higher drop.
Ooh,
that's a beautiful pour.
There you go.
Yeah.
Been doing it. But yeah, so if somebody, yeah, I didn't see who it was, but somebody said they couldn't get it to foam. Let it drop.
So I saw Lindsay Hildorfer here has got the best answer so far, removed the wheat from the chaff. So a shocker is actually just a generic term for somebody who harvests wheat, which is why the Waterville Shockers are named that way. And it's the same thing with, what is it, West Virginia? There's a college with the Shockers. And it's because all the college students worked in the wheat fields during their vacation.
Ooh, Wichita State.
Thank you, Luke.
Wow, that was quick too. I can't type that fast.
Luke has been preparing for this moment for his whole life.
Right.
I don't know. Should we give him a point for that?
I feel like that was a good. We didn't know the answer.
You Googled it, cheater.
It's still floundering.
I'm gonna give him a point for that. Luke Viertaler. I hope I'm saying that right.
Ah, that's why.
Luke cheated. He's from Wichita.
Yeah, he's a cheater. You're only allowed to be from here.
So great job, Lindsay. Great job, Luke.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, we've tried the shocker. You can you can slam it right now if you'd like. I'm gonna, oh, attaboy, P. Get after it. Oh, everybody, all right.
So personally, when I drink this beer, I'm getting a lot of freshly baked bread when I take a sip. It's very malty, malt forward kind of beer, but at the same time, it's kind of light and crisp. It does come in at about 4.6% alcohol content, so it's an easy drinker. It's actually what we would call a sessionable beer, which means it's a beer that you can sit down and have a session, right? Have multiple at the same time without getting overdoing yourself.
That's a good one.
So I
So
want to give a quick shout out to Jill. She's helping us from the back end. She works for the museum. She's doing all the IT management. And she's also tracking all the questions. And Jill says, if you want people to be able to see your answers, make sure to turn when you say to, choose comment to panelists only or panelists and attendees. And that'll say where your comments are going. And we're really enjoying those. The one I'm loving the most now is from Kirby, who says, what's a shocker? A person who does the wheat thing.
Love it.
That's legit. Yeah.
you're not wrong, Kirby.
Yep.
Kirby gets extra points for that.
Yeah, he gets 10.
It was vague and specific somehow at the same time.
So the Shocker wheat is actually a version of a Hefeweizen, which is a German beer. And my next trivia question, Jill, I'm going to skip around here to number 3. But the German word Hefeweizen, Weizen, of course, means wheat. But can anybody tell me what the German word Hefe means?
Cow?
Those are good guesses. Oh, nice with boss. Dig it. Cow, no.
Boss. That's Spanish, but close.
Yeah. Well, fun fact: Peter and I took German in high school together. We actually did a couple of German videos for projects together. That's one of the ways that we became fast friends. Oh, there we go. Jess and Todd.
Jess and Todd. Jess and Todd, what do you have a last name? I can look you up here.
Also, I will say that was enough time to Google it. Somebody did.
We would like to
Not like the
encourage
Wichita
people
guy.
not to Google things, but you know, I understand that sometimes these questions can be very difficult. Some of them I didn't even know. You know, so if you have to Google it, you know, I'll give points to whoever gets it first, right?
Oh, Ferguson.
Ferguson. There you are. Oh, nope, there you're not. I'll put it down here. All right. So should we move on to the next beer?
I'm in.
Everybody ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
So as I was saying before, you kind of want to work light to dark, less hoppy to more hoppy. So the next beer that I'd like us all to break out is going to be the Oktoberfest Amber Ale.
Hey, this is what I would order when I visit. You guys, I have a confession to make. I had to go pick up my beer tote today, which was, you know, lovely, always a great experience. And I had a beer while I picked up my beer tote. So I'm one Oktoberfest Amber into the evening.
Nice.
So you could give us tasty notes on this one then, huh,
sweet.
Kristen?
Oh no.
That's kind of what it sounds like. It sounds
That's what I heard.
No, but again, Kristen, it doesn't take an expert to do this. I mean, I'm glad that you had us on and you know, we're doing this. This is a lot of fun, but it's just what you taste. There is no pressure. You can't be right or wrong because we can't taste what you taste. Just give us your honest opinion. And last time you absolutely nailed it. Like, I mean, it's like you had read our tasting notes.
So before we let Kristen take this over on what we're tasting here, I just think this is fun. If you look at the details of the Shocker wheat and the Oktoberfest Amber, they're the exact same alcohol content and the exact same IBU, and yet you're going to notice they are very different beers. So actually leading me into another great trivia question here. Jill, question 9. Who can tell me what IBU stands for?
Nice.
And as we wait for the answers, Kristen, why don't you walk us through tasting the Oktoberfest Amber Ale here?
Oh, man.
Ooh, they know what IBU means.
Oh, wow.
They're on
They've been
it.
in.
That was a one pointer for, ooh, let's see, who got it first? I got to scroll back up to get this
Sawyer
one.
gets my favorite answer.
It looks
I
like
hear you.
Andy. No.
Eli. I'm seeing Eli.
Yeah.
First, though, right? It's whoever could type that fast. Because they were big.
Eli, how many words per minute can you type there?
He had it copy and pasted.
3.
Nice.
Okay, but I like Debbie's answer. Debbie says, "I beer you." Like, I beer you. That's a good.
Yeah,
We're getting
I kind of
multiple
agreed.
votes for I beer you should win.
Yep.
Okay, Kristen, let's do our drive-by. Tell me what you're smelling.
Okay, I'm getting some citrus. I want to say feet again, but that's just my default.
Maybe feet
This
can
one's
smell like
less-
citrus.
Right? Little citrus. This one's less less weedy than the last one, less bready.
Keep going.
Oh gosh. Does anyone want to help me out here in comments? We can pretend they were mine.
Okay.
Well,
Oh,
so we
Martzen.
do have a good question here. Is it a Martzen from Robin? And it is not a Martzen. Martzens are typically a little bit more golden in color and a little bit just lighter.
It's a little
This beer is actually an amber Kolsch, which is traditionally a Belgium beer from Belgium, I believe. The Kolsch, or is it Czech Republic?
Kolsch is
It's
Czech.
Czech. It's very popular in Germany. The yeast that we use is actually a German ale Kolsch hybrid. So this beer is based off of German beers. We actually followed the Reinheitsgebot, which is the German purity law, stating you can only use water, barley, hops, and yeast when you brew a beer. So that's all that we use for this beer, and we try to brew it in that style.
So what gives it the citrus undertones? Is that one of the ingredients?
The citrus in this beer is going to come mostly from the yeast, actually. We ferment our beers at warmer temperatures, which allows the yeast to produce more fruity esters as they're doing their fermentation, converting sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide. So that citrus that you're getting is actually kind of a byproduct of fermentation.
It's delicious.
It is very good.
Mhm.
Someone
right.
said coffee. I feel like I can get some coffee vibes out of this too,
Yeah,
right?
I feel a little like a little coffee or chocolate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you absolutely can. I personally don't. If you're looking for coffee and chocolate, that'll probably be the last one that we do. That stout, you're really gonna know, like, oh yeah, that is a cup of that's a mocha.
We have a question asking what kind of hops we use, and do you change them up with different recipes?
That's a great question. There are a very wide variety of hops. I want to say there's over 300 different varieties. So for this beer in particular, we actually use a German imported hop called Pearl, which is actually known for tastes kind of spicy and like black pepper. But with most of our beers, we try to mix up what hops that we're using. Sometimes we'll use 1 hop, sometimes we'll use 5 or 6 hops. And those hops can add a lot of different flavors, anywhere from piney and earthy, herbal, floral, to citrus, fruity, stone fruit. It's really a pretty unique plant in that it's a flower that can taste like just about anything else.
So is this beer similar to the Shocker Wheat? I know you said you chose light to dark, right? What made you choose in that order? Are these similar or different?
They're pretty different beers. They are both kind of German style, but the Shocker Wheat is going to be using just a pretty base 2-row malt, and then about 50% of that build is going to be wheat, whether malted or unmalted. Whereas the Oktoberfest here is going to be using more roasted malts, which is where you get that different color. You might get that coffee kind of flavor because coffee is roasted. So you get that kind of darker, more biscuity, caramely flavor from that.
Thank you
Somebody-
just answered this as you were chatting, but yeah, someone was just asking if you're growing your own hops, does it matter if it's fresh or dried when brewing? And I think you just described 2 different hop scenarios, right?
Yeah, we're gonna get into actually one of the one that we have coming up after this, I believe. Peter, we're gonna go with the smash after this, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's actually interesting that you asked that, but yes, absolutely. The acids and how they deteriorate after you pull them off the vine absolutely plays a role in the way that the flavoring is perceived. We're gonna drink this fresh hop in a second. But Peter is actually the chemist. I don't know why I took this question, but he's better at this than I am.
Oh, Peter, let me handle this.
Yeah, I got this. Back up, buddy. No, but as you pull them off the vine, the acids start to deteriorate. Or yeah, Peter, go for it, man. I don't know why I decided to take this one for me.
Well, you were right though. The second that those hops are pulled off the vine, they have acids within them, which is where the bitterness in the beer comes from, as well as oils, which is where the flavor comes from. And as soon as they're pulled off the vine, those acids and those oils begin to volatilize and get absorbed up into the air. So, every hour that they're just sitting out in oxygen, in heat, they're going to start losing their potency, which is why most hops are actually taken and kilned, which kind of stops that process. And then they're ground up and pelletized, which allows them to last quite a bit longer without losing all of their luster.
Delicious. This is my order of choice. This or the, you have another amber that I like there. Now I can't remember. Overlord.
Yeah. Gold or bronze medalist.
So I have another trivia question here. In the spirit of Oktoberfest, I would like to ask everybody for, what is this one worth? Oh, let's see here. I lost my place. I believe it's 1 point. Who can tell me in what year the first Oktoberfest was? Oh, it's 2 points.
Thomas, I see you typing.
I know.
No, there's a really good question. While that's going on, somebody asked why Wenatchee doesn't grow more hops, and Yakima is the, I believe still, and I'm not sure on this stat, but it's very close if I'm wrong. Per capita, Yakima is the highest producing hop region in the country, if not the world, just based on its size. Yakima makes some of the best hops in the world and a ton of them. The reason Wenatchee doesn't, honestly, too many apples. You got to tear out the orchards. You need the space for the agriculture. And Wenatchee is way better than Yakima. And so right now, instead of orchards being torn out and being turned into hops, they are being turned into apartments and housing.
And if I'm honest, we already hung the sign that says Apple Capital of the World. So we really got to double down on that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm just letting you know, I worked at Stamilk for before Wenatchee Valley Brewing opened. That was my job right before this. And then my family opened this business. Wenatchee hasn't been the apple capital of the world in like 50 years. Japan had it for a very long time. Yakima was actually beating us before they had their big hop boom. They started tearing out their apples and started planting hops. We started tearing out our apples and building houses. So
our last tasting in September was an apple tasting. We got to taste all sorts of different varieties and figure out, how they, so that was really fun. But I learned that there, and I have to admit, I'm still processing that. I'm not ready to give it up.
Well, so I've gone to school here. I went to Sunny Slope Elementary. I was born here in Wenatchee Valley, and I was always told that this is the apple capital of the world. And then 4th grade, my teacher's like, yeah, Japan actually puts out a lot more than us.
Go Sunny Slope Wolves. So I think we need to give someone an opportunity to record Peter's laugh.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 1,000. Hold on. What's your number? I've got, oh man, just wait.
Tommy's got it as his ringtone.
That's excellent.
That's totally excellent.
Actually, my ringtone is the ballad that Peter and I wrote for my hedgehog when we buried him.
That day.
Yeah, that was a great day. We wrote
Let's get back to it. Luke Viertaler got the first correct answer for when the first Oktoberfest was. It was in 1810. And that gives him a commanding lead. All right. So I'm going to need the other participants to step their game up a little bit here.
Right.
It was in 1810, and it was a wedding ceremony between the Prince of Bavaria, and I forget who he was marrying, but it was just a big, long wedding ceremony and reception. They got together and had a great time and drank a bunch of beer and decided, hey, let's do this every year. And it's been around for the last 200 years, just the same.
Well, I'm missing Leavenworth's Oktoberfest celebration this year, but I'm loving that we all get to celebrate together. So this is great.
This almost works.
Totally.
Yeah.
I thought about wearing my Bavarian, outfit. It just didn't feel right. Wasn't right.
Next time.
Yes. Now we have to do this again next year to see that.
Let's do it next month. I mean, I'll break out my lederhosen.
Okay, sold.
I'm gonna have to get a pair apparently.
I know,
Go
me
shop
too.
at Peter.
What do we have next here?
What's that?
What do we have next?
Ooh.
Next? Oh,
I
you
know,
ready to
I'm-
move on already?
I'm ready to move on. Yeah.
You want to be out of the spotlight, don't you?
Renee's turn.
Oh my gosh.
It's fun.
So-
You can't be wrong.
Okay,
you're
but it's
fine.
gonna be hard for me because this is like a really high IBU, and I don't usually like bitter beers. So
Ooh,
we'll see.
me too.
That's what I said the last time, but as we went, they just kept getting better and better and better. I don't think I've ever tasted them in.
That's how tasting works, though, Kristen.
That's how beer works.
Wait a
Everything
minute,
is forced.
sort that out. Yeah.
Why do you think we saved it for third?
Yeah.
So the next one we're gonna do is our Fresh Hop Chinook Smash IPA. All right, let's go ahead and break that guy out.
Peter had to travel
There he
for
is.
that one.
I know. I rearranged my man cave here. Now my mini fridge, my beer fridge, is way over there. And I'm not gonna pull the beers out before I'm ready to drink them. You know.
Oh, that'd be a rookie mistake. I said as I
Right.
look at my whole row of beer
I
here.
know. I'm like, gosh, who would do that?
I chilled my glasses before this. That's how I compensated.
Well, and you know, another beauty of this glass is some people actually like to drink their beer a little bit warmer. It's actually very common in England to drink your beer at like 50 to 55 degrees and undercarbonated. So with this glass, you can actually cup it and warm your beer up if you want. And that's actually going to give you a little bit more flavor, but it's going to be a lot less refreshing, which I've found the refreshing part is a big reason that I drink beer.
I have to agree with you.
But again, if you don't want to do that, you can grab the stem with a cold one.
Do I need to have a pinky out?
What's
Yes.
Now I do. Now that was a rookie mistake.
Pink
I
is
should have.
out. Yeah.
that?
All right.
When in doubt, pinky out, right?
I'm getting some citrus on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
Yeah, it's really fruity.
What kind of fruit?
Pineapple?
Sure, keep going.
Very tropical.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, I would say passion fruit, stone
Yeah.
fruits. But I just see somebody say apricot or peach. Very
Ooh,
similar.
yeah, grapefruit.
Yep.
Yep.
All
Yeah,
of
you
that.
guys see, they're really good at this.
Well,
Just
you know,
comment,
each
Renee,
one
I'll
of
get
them
through.
is one, right? It's great.
Yeah.
Whatever you smell is what you smell.
Yeah.
I would say mango as well. Yeah, passion fruit, kind of guava-y,
Mhm.
very Hawaiian.
See, I love
Okay.
this because we're getting all this mango, grapefruit, passion fruit, tropical fruit, and then Jess and Todd, they taste earthy and mushrooms. And it's just so much, it's so cool that different people can taste and smell different things when they
They're
taste
just
the same beer.
So I have a question because this is a 60 IBU out of
Mhm.
100, but I just tasted it. It doesn't taste real bitter. Why?
'Cause you're
So-
3 beers into your night.
So it has to do with how the hops are used. The IBU it can be a little bit misleading at times. So basically, when you make a beer, you have two editions of hops. You have a bittering edition and then a flavoring edition. And the bittering edition is done at the very beginning of your boil, and you boil it for about 60 to 90 minutes. And then right at the end, you put a bunch more in. So a beer like this actually has a very small bittering edition and then a very large flavoring edition. So those IBUs are actually coming mostly at the end of the boil, and you're not going to get as much of that bitterness coming through as you would if you just threw a bunch of hops in at the beginning of your boil.
Yeah,
Another,
this is a really great, like, sit on the patio beer.
Mhm.
Exactly. Well, another factor in that is that the fact this is a fresh hop. Someone asked earlier how fresh the hop comes off. If you dry your hop, you're probably going to get a little bit different flavor profile. Again, the flavoring will essentially be the same, but how it hits your tongue and the texture of it as it goes down as far as the flavor goes will vary depending on fresh hop versus non-fresh hop. I mean, we use Chinook hop all the time. I don't think we've done a smash before. I don't think we've done a smash, right? Anyway, but yeah, a fresh hop versus a dry hop absolutely plays a factor.
So I see a question, how is IBU measured? And as I mentioned before, the hops have an acid content within them. And the IBU is basically measured on how long we boil the hops based on how much of their oils are coming from acids. So the Chinook hop typically has about 13% acid content, whereas say the Oktoberfest, the Pearl hop usually has about 4%. The longer that we boil it, the more of that acid is absorbed into the beer and the more bitterness that we get from it. All right, I would like to ask another trivia question. We're kind of falling short on these guys. So I want to ask Robin question 19, or not Robin, sorry, Jill. What does the acronym SMASH stand for?
Oh, wow.
Wow, Robin, you got that really quick.
She knew it was coming.
She knew you were asking her. You said you were going to ask her.
Lindsay.
That's 2 points for Robin there.
She hasn't, let me check that. She
I
hasn't
feel like
said
that was
anything.
preloaded. Like you weren't even done
Yeah,
asking the question yet.
She had her finger right here on enter, and as soon as Peter started the question, clicked it. She knew the question was coming.
I swear I didn't send her this sheet. So Emily, the A it stands for and. The technical term is single malt and single hop.
Oh, there, it's Jen's got the full.
Yeah, let's give Jen a couple points for that too.
I think she gets about 9 or 10, right?
Yeah,
What's
how are
that?
we doing for points, Peter? Is this getting competitive yet?
Oh, yeah.
We have let's see, we have 6 people that have scored. So far, Luke is in the lead with his 3 points. Followed very closely by It's Jen with 2 and Robin with 2. So it's any man's game right now.
Or woman's.
Or woman's.
Yes, Peter.
You know what? Let's ask a couple more questions real quick and see if we can get some more points on the board.
And in the meantime, you can put a little more in your glass.
Yeah, go ahead and have a couple sips and
out.
pull up Google and get ready to answer some questions. So Jill, I'm just going to go back to the top. We're going to go to number 2 here. Most Americans live within how many miles of a brewery? For 1 point.
Wow. Nicely done. All right, who was first? I love Robin's answer of 1,000.
Well, you're not wrong.
That's probably right. That would be probably every American, maybe not in Alaska in some weird spots.
There it is. Jess and Todd just got it with 10 miles.
First?
They got it first.
I can't.
You know, for another point, Jill, this one isn't on the sheet, but which 3 states have the most number of breweries?
Ooh, I'm on this. Good.
Wow, it's Jen. Got another point.
Yep.
Look at that. Now it's getting competitive. It was Washington, California, and Oregon. And California is far in the lead. I think they have about 1,200. Washington's in second with 340, although that number is probably going down. And then Oregon's right behind there with 300 and something.
Mm-hmm.
So good place to live for beer lovers on the West Coast.
Just in general.
Yeah, well, obviously in general, but.
Well, I mean, just kind of, if anybody's been to the East Coast, they know that line from, was it Elf, where he's hopping across the street and gets hit by a taxi cab and he says, the yellow ones don't stop. Yeah, that's the East Coast. That's just in general, just flat line. If you want to know the difference, the taxis stop on the West Coast. They don't on the East Coast.
I like the proximity question. I used to choose where I lived based on its proximity to a brewery or a bar, you know, just a fun hangout kind of community space. So it's a little harder in Wenatchee to choose based on that, but it's a longer walk home.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Well, Wenatchee's only about 10 miles in diameter. So the fact that there are 5 in that area.
We're pretty spoiled.
Yeah. And at least some of them are good.
I have a favorite.
Yeah, I know. Plum is.
It's not a coincidence that you guys have been featured twice on our Maiden Wenatchee series.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that.
You mean it's not because of our friendly demeanor?
Not
It's your
mine.
that too, obviously.
Can I also give you a shout out? When I went and picked my kid up, I picked pizza up, and my family said your taco pizza was the best they've had. So,
Oh, shout out
Quincy
to
was
Quincy
cooking
and the
tonight. Yeah.
Quincy, a boy.
yeah.
That's also what I got when I came and picked up mine for this. I absolutely got a pepperoni and a margarita, and Quincy, my man, hooking it up.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, we recently switched our the dough that we were using. We are now having Garlini's
Yes.
make
noticed.
dough specifically for us, and it has really improved the quality of our pizzas.
Ooh, that's a good question. Somebody just asked Peter and Thomas, what is our favorite beer? PD, you first.
Ooh, to craft? That's
Wait,
a
did it say
great
craft?
question. Yeah.
Well,
Ooh,
Thomas
you know,
what you wanted it to say.
oh, sorry, I just missed it.
I would have to say, and it's funny because I'm not a huge fan of dark beers unless it gets cold enough. But I really enjoy making like imperial stouts or porters, just because there's so much complexity that you can get in the malt build, but it has to be very, very fine tuned. It's super easy to mess it up and go too heavy on the dark stuff or too light. So there's just a little bit more effort that goes into making those beers.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mean to segue into the next one yet, but we got a good dark one coming up, and that's really cool that Peter said that. To answer your question, I mean, mine is the favorite one to brew is the favorite one to drink for me, and that would be the long stick lager. That's the one we did last time. From top to bottom, that was the only beer that they trusted me to just. They said, "Here, Tom, make us a light beer. You're the only one in the brewery who likes a light beer. So let's see what you can do." So I took. I think the one that we have on right now was our 6th crack at it. I tried 5 times on a 5-gallon size set, and the first time was plenty good. Second time was plenty good. Third time got better. Fourth time got even better. But I just wasn't ready to put it up on the big system until I got exactly what I wanted. It was, again, the one that I got to, we spending very minimal money on that 5 gallons versus 200. So I could take as long as I wanted. I think it was almost a year until I felt good enough to put my name on this and say, this is my favorite beer ever. And it's because I got to craft it to exactly what I want it to taste like. If you don't like it, that's fine. You're just wrong. But I had a lot of fun making that, and I'm always very excited that one, as Peter is an incredible brewer. Him and the brewing staff have 2 medals to their name. I mean, the Trout Stout, which we're going to get into next, is what Peter's kind of talking about. That actually just won a gold in 2019 for stouts in Washington State. And since there wasn't a second one due to COVID, we've got the belt for 2 years running now, because you can't lose the belt if you don't lose the belt. But yeah, I would say the lager. That's right. Go. What's up?
So I saw Lindsay's question here. Why are some WVBC beers served in pint glasses and others in tulips? If the tulip is a better glass to drink from. And the short answer there is that some beers don't have a lot of aroma to them. And it just kind of saves us on the expensive tulip glasses if we serve them in the Midland, is what we call that, or cocktail glass. Because the aromas aren't really playing a factor in what you're tasting there. It's usually the lighter beers, the kind of like the Shocker or the Lager, or dark beers like our Stout or Raspberry Wheat even.
The other thing about that is you guys were supplied with 12-ounce tulips versus the 16-ounce tulips. So this is that draft glass, that cocktail glass that Peter was talking about from Wenatchee. And it actually has a little bit to do, like Peter said, with the aroma and all that stuff. But also, if you're drinking out of a 12-ounce at our brewery, it's because legally in Washington State, we can't serve 16 ounces of a 8% alcohol or higher beer. So we have to give it to you in 12 ounces. Otherwise, it counts towards a hard liquor license, which we don't have because we don't serve mixed drinks. We don't serve shots. We just do we just do, what's it called, PD? Malted, what's the technical term? Malt drink? Because we can't serve a solid.
Yeah, a fermented malt beverage.
Right. That's what we're licensed for. But once it gets over 8% in Washington, you have to serve it in under 16 ounces because it's now too heavy in alcohol. Because we could make a 14% beer and serve it to you in 16-ounce glasses. You have 2 of those and you're on the floor. So, yeah.
So I'm going to circle back real quick and ask a question. Tommy was telling us that his favorite beer to craft was the long stick lager of ours. So I was wondering, Jill, this is question 10. Does anybody know what the German word lager stands for or translates to?
And again, Peter and I got to cheat because we took German.
See, beer water. That Kirby, great answer. Not correct.
So people are trying to say it into their Google Translate right now, and they can't get it right. They're like, log her?
I hardly know her.
Ooh, bonus question. Can I go off the board here, PD, and whoever's keeping track? Who's keeping track?
I'm keeping track.
Okay, sweet. Can I go off the board? Does anybody know why we named it the long stick? That's for 1 point, by the way.
I do, but I'd be cheating.
Because we did this a month ago, or whenever, 5 months ago, whenever this. Because that was the one we were tasting.
Lindsay, I love her response because you have to keep people away from it with a long stick.
Yeah.
What kind of long stick? What's that long stick?
I'm not sure she's ready to specify.
Yard is a great answer, not it. Try more like 2 yards.
That's almost 10 feet.
And that's almost 11.
So while y'all think about that, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give the answer for the longer question to Robin, who said aging. That's the closest that I see, but the literal translation is actually to rest. And yes, that does mean aging it for extended periods of time at cold temperatures, which is why it comes out so clear and so crisp.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about beer is how the genius of music kind of hit across the board of the entire planet all at the same time. It happened with the telephone. Alexander Graham Bell only patented his phone, minutes before the guy whose name is lost in history, just because people kind of get the same level of intelligence as the human evolution goes. I love that beer had to be made without refrigeration, and it all kind of happened at the same time as humans started to develop their understanding of that. So in order to get certain beers, you can't import at the time they started making beers all these different ingredients like we can now. So we get a lot of Irish stouts and these dark beers from the northern hemisphere, and part of that was we didn't have refrigeration, we didn't have shipping in a sense, and in order to make beer, you had to make what can grow in your climate. And because that's what Ireland had, barley and all those malts that they had there, those yeasts, that's the kind of beer that came. If we get into the Brits, when they were colonizing India, they wanted their soldiers to have beer, but you can't produce the same kind of beer in Germany that you can in India because it's way hotter in India. So in order to try and disguise how the beer was kind of going funky that they were trying to make in hot weather, they would put so much hop into it that they would disguise that it was going bad. So they call it an India Pale Ale. When it comes to a lager, they were brewing it in the snow in Germany and in Switzerland and in the Czech Republic. Well, the now Czech Republic, it wasn't then. But the whole thing is they needed a yeast that could survive those cold temperatures. And because yeast is going to do better, or at least most strains are going to do better in warmer climates, they're going to reproduce faster. They had to get a hardier yeast that could handle the cold, but it would slow down its metabolism so much because of the cold that it had to sit longer, i.e. lager, to rest. That's my favorite part about beer. I'm sorry if I ever go off on that, but that's always the thing that tickles me is why different people made different beers because refrigeration didn't exist.
The history is so cool, and there's so much to it, and they're always learning more. I mean, I just found out about a week ago, they used to think that beer was, roughly 6,000 to 7,000 years old. And they just found this archaeological site, this temple in Turkey that's like 14,000 years old, and they found evidence that they were brewing at this temple. What's that?
In Turkey?
In Turkey, yeah.
Yeah,
they had dug holes in the limestone, and they had just dumped barley into these holes and poured water over it, and it fermented, and they had an archaic version of beer. Really? 14,000 years ago.
Huh. Well, so my favorite my favorite version of how beer was created, and I'm not sure Peter just said 14,000 years ago. Before he said that, I thought it was about 10 or 9 or whatever it was, but it was Tibetan monks that wanted to go on these long excursions through the mountains, but they needed weight efficient nutrient and hydration. And what they did was they would just soak bread in water and then carry that and drink that. So they would get their carbohydrates at the same time they're getting their water to make it more efficient. But what happened is they started to store it, and they stored it in places without knowledge of sanitation. And a lot of it just went bad and they dumped it. But some people decided to start drinking it when it went slightly bad. And the more they drank, the funnier it made them feel. So yeah.
Which is what I love about it too. Thomas, you had said something about they didn't have shipping then. And I know exactly what you meant. They didn't ship things like we ship them, but they did literally have shipping, right? And didn't that affect how they made beer, right? Because for longer journeys, they had to somehow ferment it to keep the water from going bad, right?
Yeah.
So shipping. So people are not getting your long stick lager question. And I think pretty soon we need to move on to the Trout Stout. So I think you might need to spoil the surprise about what allowed your long stick lager to have good social distancing.
That was a great thing. Luke said that. He said it was 6 feet for COVID, and great anticipation on the 2 meter thing. No, again, the lager got to be my beer from top to bottom. And when I was in high school and college, I played lacrosse and I played goalie. And the defenders in lacrosse have a 6 foot long stick, and everybody else gets a 3 foot long stick. And to honor the guys who kept me safe in that cage my entire career, I named a beer after them. They are the long sticks.
That's very cool.
Good way to honor them.
Yep.
I mean, now whenever I get to invite my buddies from high school or from college out, I get to give them the beer that said, "Hey dudes, thank you so much for not letting me get hit."
I love it. All right. So are we moving on to Trout Stout?
I think it's about that time.
Okay. And are we switching glasses here? I know we had an awesome pint glass too.
You can if you'd like.
You can. Yeah, so I would say that you can do either with this. Again, this isn't necessarily what we would call an aromatic beer. I would say IPAs mostly. The Oktoberfest certainly could be put in a tulip. You can kind of go either way with the stout. Your choice. I prefer to put it in a straight glass. Probably doesn't matter that much. But so this is the Trout Stout. The name is after my family. Our last name is Bass, and I thought that was clever when this is one of the first ones we did.
Still is clever. And it's got a good rhyme situation.
Exactly. Thanks.
We like to have fun with the names. I don't know if you guys saw when you were down there, but we've got one beer called the Mangolorian.
Yes.
The Mango Cream.
You named
Ale.
it that?
Yeah. That was all Tommy. I was texting him that day when we were tapping it. I was like, I need a name for this.
You were feeling some Baby Yoda vibes that day.
The best part about how Peter and I name these things, there's no bad ideas. We go through these. We play these games. We have a game called Bad Band Names. We have several, just word playing games. We like to make puns. We like to be silly about it, and we text each other just nonstop about these dumb ideas. And the whole thing is there's no bad idea, because I'm going to give you a bad idea that gives me a bad idea that gives you a bad idea that gives you a good idea. And he said we needed a name for a mango ale. And about the fourth or fifth one down, I just thought of the Mangolorian, and I didn't know he named it that. Well, anyway, this is the Trout Stout.
So, I guess it's my turn to walk us through this beer here. So we're going to start with our drive-by. And I'll tell you what, right off the bat, I just smell coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get a lot of coffee and a lot of chocolate when you drink this beer due to the dark malts that we use. The malts are heavily roasted, just like with coffee beans or chocolate.
That's a good one.
So what you're really tasting is roastedness and caramelized sugars, but it comes off as, you know, something familiar to you, which is coffee and chocolate.
So is this beer made with any coffee and chocolate, or is that just what we're picking up from it?
That's all what you're picking up from it. There is no coffee and there's no chocolate in this. It's all coming from the malts.
Oh, this is so good. It's just rich and full of flavor.
Yeah, this is my second favorite by far. Like I would, good for breakfast. I mean,
Yeah.
beer's good for breakfast.
I mean, if the monks did it, right? We probably could. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know what? I have a question about that. Hang on.
Heck yeah.
Let's see. Jill, we're looking at question 24. So during the Middle Ages, how much beer would a beer brewing monk typically consume in a day? And I'll give you a hint, it's a lot compared to our standards, I guess.
Am I a beer brewing monk at this point?
Honorary.
Honorary? 10 gallons.
We're getting close. It's not 10 gallons. Less than. Think about how much you drink in a day. You know, maybe half a gallon.
10 gallons. Somebody was pretty close. I'm not going to say who, but somebody was really close.
Yep. Andy, you're getting there.
Somebody said buttload.
You're not wrong.
So they were drinking this in place of water. This was everything they were drinking, right? And in place of water and food. So this is all the things. This is all the calories they're consuming.
That was the idea, at least. And and again, as Peter said, I believe that the furthest back that beer has been documented is up for debate because of how the human genome all was kind of figuring out at the same time, and we can't exactly date perfectly when things were happening. But there we go.
There it is.
Somebody got it.
Andy with 1.25 gallons.
Yep.
Well, and this is fun. What was that one worth? That was worth 3 points.
I feel like we maybe should have told them what unit of measurement we were going to take there. We're all over the board here.
I almost took the 4 liters, but it's not quite right. So it's very interesting with beer. So you boil it to pasteurize it, which is why it's safe to drink. And actually, at low enough alcohol levels, it's incredibly good for you. Beer has a lot of nutrients within it. Has a lot of protein, carbohydrates, amino acids. It is. You could drink. There were monks that fasted and exclusively drank beer and were fine. And at low enough alcohol levels, it actually doesn't dehydrate you. I think it's below about 3%.
Yeah, I think 2.5 is what the Boy Scouts say. You can't drink that like in the desert. People who get stranded, they drink their Coors Light thinking that they're quenching their thirst, but it's actually dehydrating them at the rate that they're drinking it. They think they're being refreshed, but you are losing too much due to the alcohol. I just learned that in Boy Scouts, like don't drink alcohol unless it's under 2.5% to keep you alive.
I wasn't aware that Boy Scouts were packing beer as they were going camping on their excursions, but now I've got a different mental picture.
Well, I mean, when you're 12 years old and you're out there and you don't have your Game Boy Color playing Pokemon Blue, I mean, what are you going to do?
Right. Tough days.
So I just saw Luke had said 10 pints on that one, which actually is correct. I hadn't done the mental math. So I'm going to go ahead and give 3 points to Luke as well as Andy on that one. You
Oh, we
guys
lost
want a
him.
fun? You guys want like a fun kind of gross one?
No.
Is that a
Yeah.
resounding no?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like I'm
go for
on
it,
my fourth now, so yeah, let's have at it.
And I swear I got these from Jill, most of them, so don't blame me on this. Okay, so this one's for 3 points. Let's see. When a young Tariki man wants to marry, he offers a woman a beer.
Oh, right.
How does this woman accept the proposal?
There, welcome back.
Sam Boney, great answer.
Sam. Drink said beer.
Oh, I like pours it on his head too.
I feel like the classy answer would be turn it on its side, open it with a key.
Nice.
I will say Lindsay is fairly close, and Eli, but not quite.
I'm giving it to Bobby.
Keg stand.
I don't know,
Done.
Tommy, do you have that power?
Ooh,
That's why I can do that.
I'll give you guys a hint. You're close with the spitting, but it has to be specifically somewhere.
Petey, you can't do that, man.
Oh, I saw it. Eli. The woman will take it and spit it into the man's mouth. And that is how she says yes to the proposal.
Renee actually missed the question.
I'm like, I don't feel sad that I missed out on this. And sorry, my computer just froze up and
Oh, no.
I noticed I was frozen on the screen. So
I'm getting some strong bird vibes off of this, right?
Mama bird.
Well, and I don't know where the Tariki come from, so there could be a big influence of birds in that culture.
Bonus 100 points. What is a Tariki?
You mean
That's
turkey?
a lot of points, Thomas. That's really tip the scales here.
Oh, well, again, I don't have the authority to do that. So by all
that's
means.
true. He's just winging it over there.
So, Kristen, what was your favorite beer of the night?
So, I mean, what I would order would be the Oktoberfest Amber, but I have to admit, I'm just loving the Trout Stout. It's really delicious to drink. I was excited to try the Fresh Hop too. I saw that on the itinerary tonight, and I think when we were there meeting with you planning, we got to actually see the hop show up on a truck and get offloaded. And so I was excited to see how that one turned out. I know you guys were not even sure at that point what it was going to be. You were going to fight over what got made there. But yeah, I'm loving the Trout Stout tonight. Those notes of chocolate and coffee are just delicious.
Yeah, well, and that's why I like the darker beers. They're not always up my alley, but there's a certain amount of complexity that you can get from them that you just can't get from the hoppier beers, because the hoppier beers, they kind of ruin your palate with the bitterness. They can really take a lot of that flavor away. You take one sip, you're like, wow, this is amazing, and then you don't really taste it after that. Whereas the darker beers are just smooth through and through.
I feel like you served us a dessert beer at the end. It's like a little treat,
right?
That was the
Well,
plan.
so two things with that. Sorry, and Peter, I hate to do this to you in front of the world right now. I wouldn't say they ruin your palate. It overpowers your palate. Your palate doesn't get destroyed. It is just especially bitterness versus like sweetness or even sour. Bitterness lingers, and that's why we do that one. We do them in sequence because the least bitter will be overpowered, and you can get the full flavor of it, while still getting the full flavor of the more bitter one that you had second and then third and then fourth. I just wanted to be clear on that. Like the bitterness isn't going to like make you lose your sense of taste forever. It just is more powerful generally when we're talking about beer than the other flavors.
So Tommy, I remember you saying you're a light beer fan. Did you like the Fresh Hop or the Shocker Wheat tonight, or did you have another favorite?
Honestly, well, so the Trout Stout is my second favorite that we do. Like Peter said, it's the complexity, and also again, it's a gold medal winner. It's just that good. The same way that you were, unsure, people were asking if you can have it for breakfast, because yes, you can. It is that kind of awesome. That kind of complex. Oh, hi, Alice. Hi. Sorry, my dog just. Oh yeah,
Oh,
my little
I want
my
to
little
see your
humane,
dog. Yes,
yeah,
please.
my little Humane Society rescue.
Oh, yay.
So this is Atlas Snugs,
So
and oh, hey buddy, oh there we go, there. So I got her. She is 9 months old, and I got her from the Humane Society. Hi, Muffin. I got her from the Humane Society. Let's see, in March, right as COVID started by accident, and I got her at 9.8 pounds, and she is currently 89 pounds.
She is adorable.
Yeah,
She's
her name was
beautiful.
Anne at the adoption. We named her Atlas Snugs as we walked out. But yeah, so thank you so much. It was really fun that she just walked over then.
You're
Well, thank
winning
you
the
for
name
adopting.
game there. How big is she supposed to
Yeah.
be?
So we don't know exactly. I'm probably not going to do a DNA test on her. She's at least 50% German Shepherd, just based on what she looks like, you know, just size and everything. The great thing is she doesn't have a hip slope, as most purebred German Shepherds do, which is again why I was so excited that she was there. She's probably a little bit of Rottweiler and a little bit of Doberman or something else because of the color. And then she's got these giant bat ears that stick up like this all the time. So I'm expecting her to be at least over 100 pounds, which is something I was hoping for. I wanted a jogging partner. I wanted a home protector, but she doesn't do anything in the ways of protecting the home. She is just such a snuggler.
No, but I bet she's real good at keeping you active and on your feet, though.
Yeah, that was the reason Peter and I didn't have a beer when I came to pick mine up today. I said, dude, I can't drink a beer. I've got to go take the dog for a jog. I don't want to be sitting on this thing right now. It's going to be so heavy if I have a Trout Stout. Yeah, but to answer your question fully, the Trout Stout is my second favorite beer that we make, and it's because it's honestly probably the best one total that we do. Including complexity, excluding the medal that it won. It's just well done. And Peter and you just did a great job with this as we were tasting it. The one that surprised me was the Smash, the Chinook Smash IPA. I don't drink an IPA ever. I do our Snowblind, and I do about 12 ounces of that, and that's it. But I was very, very happy for the first time with a Chinook Smash. That was really awesome.
I thought that was a really good. I love how you eased us into it too. 3 beers into the night, and I was like, "This is the best beer I've ever had."
Yeah, no, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it.
You know what they say? The best beer in the world is always the next beer, right?
Nice.
You can think of
So
some
I
nights
saw-
where that wasn't true.
Yeah.
I saw a fun question here from Jess and Todd. What are some of your favorite breweries in the Pacific Northwest? And personally, I'm a big fan. I like Reuben's Brews, but even more than that, I think my favorite is probably Georgetown, which I know is one of the bigger breweries.
Yeah.
But they've got some really good stuff, and they're very meticulous about which beers they release to the public. It has to go through tons of trials, and they have to make sure that it tastes exactly the way that they want to so before they even can it or sell it at their tap room, and I just respect that from them.
Oh, Luke and Kristen said they've been in town for 3 months, it sounds like. They've missed their local watering hole in Wichita, so they're glad we're doing this, and they have a cat named Grigio from the Humane Society. So thanks for adopting, you guys.
Grigio, I like it.
Yeah,
That's a
right?
Great name.
Yeah.
Is it
That's like-
white? Is it a white cat?
Like this one?
Yellow. buttercream.
Yeah.
Hey, white cat. She doesn't want to look to me. No.
She moved. Did she move? Or is she in
No,
the same
No,
spot?
she's facing away from us. There we go. Better.
My cat is sleeping under a blanket next to me, so he does not want to be on TV today.
So Renee, what was your favorite beer of the night?
Oh man, this is a hard question because they're all really good. I really love Shocker Wheat, so I was super glad that we were going to do that tonight. But you know, I think the Smash might be, it's the Trout Stout or the Smash between the two of them for different reasons. I mean, it's so hard. They're all different beers.
And again, it's the last 2 beers that we had. There's a pattern here.
That'll happen. That's kind of the way that works.
Peter, I'm wondering if we should throw in a couple more trivia questions before we narrow it down to our winners here.
Absolutely. We've got a fairly close race. Luke is still in the lead at 6 points, followed by Eli with 4, and then Robin and Jen have 3. But let's throw a couple more out. Let's see. For what's a good one? Jill, let's do question 11. Who can tell me how many gallons are in a barrel?
Ooh.
Answer quick.
Oh,
Yeah,
they are. Holy cow.
I like that the answers start coming in before the question's even really up there.
Yeah.
We had one close answer from Emily. And it's kind of funny. The barrel is a typical unit of measurement for breweries and wineries across the nation, and it makes almost no sense. I don't know where it really came from, and they were like, "Yeah, let's call this a unit of measurement." It's typical imperial unit of measurement. Oh, there it is from Andy. The answer is 31 gallons in one barrel, which is why a half barrel keg is 15.5 gallons and a 1/6 barrel keg is a little over 5 gallons.
I'll give
It's been a while
anybody.
since I've had the need to order a keg.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm saying right now is I've looked. I don't know wine. It is 31 gallons is a barrel of alcohol, like etc. I won't award you points. I will give you money if you can give me a good answer.
Wow. This just like
This just got
raised the
interesting.
bar. I know. Things just happened.
Well, beer does that.
Okay, so let's do another one. I think this one's kind of fun, and I'm sure people are more familiar with it. So we've all heard the phrase, mind your P's and Q's, yeah? But the origin of this is somewhat unknown. So there's one theory that says it likely originated in British pubs where people were drinking beer. And in this theory, what do the P and the Q stand for? This is a 2-pointer here.
Like it. Well, you guys answered too. We had a couple questions in Q&A, and it looks like Thomas and Peter jumped on them, but I want to let everyone know, someone was asking if the long stick is available now, and that is available right now at Wenatchee Valley Brewing. And another question about Oktoberfest Amber, which is a seasonal brew.
Yeah, the long stick is a year round, so that one's available at any time, unless I'm not doing my job and we run out. The Oktoberfest Amber is a seasonal beer. We only do it once a year. I think we still have quite a bit left right now, but once it's gone, it's gone. I reckon it'll be another month or two that you can still come down and have pints of that. We also did have a correct answer from. Oh, let's see who had it. It's Jen. We got the P and Q question with pints and quarts. The bartenders used to say that to their patrons because the patrons would start drinking too much, and the bartender would say, "Hey, mind your pints and quarts," so that they don't overserve themselves.
Gotta love that line in Lord.
That what?
That line in Lord of the Rings. What's that? This is a pint.
Oh, they come in pints?
It comes in pints. I'm getting another one.
Okay, what's another good one here? Okay, this is a fun one. I'd be surprised if someone got this one. I asked a couple people today and no one got it. But there was a survey of British men that found that the men were twice as likely to know the cost of their beer as what?
Ooh, I feel like this could go down some dark alleys there.
It's not as dark as you think, but you're almost on the right.
Oh,
Pant size was close.
I will say it relates to their partner.
Again, waist size is close. Keep going. There it is.
I'm going to go ahead and give that one to Eli. The answer was their bra size. So most men would know that their beer costs $5, but they don't know the size of their partner's bra.
I'd say that's probably still pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with you.
Who's in the lead? Someone says dangerous question. Totally agree, Kirby. We're on a slippery slope there. Peter, who's in the lead now?
Let's see. So it's tied up with Luke and Eli at 6 points, and Jen following in second with 2.
Well, we can't
Or
leave
sorry,
it
with
tied.
5.
Do we need to throw out another one before we wrap it up?
We can do another one. I'll try to keep this one more PC. How about that? Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, this is a fun one. Before the use of hops, brewers used a combination of herbs and spices such as mugwort and yarrow and bay leaves to flavor their beer. What was the generic term for this combination of herbs and spices?
I like grog. Good answer.
That's not too far off. Oh, hang on. It's Jen got it. That was a 3-pointer. And it's Jen answered correctly with gruit. And it was actually kind of fun. Most brewers kept their gruit recipe secret. They wouldn't tell you how much of one thing and how much of another they put in. So to this day, we still don't know exactly what was used in gruit, but it was just kind of a generic term used for how they flavored the beer back in the day. And I will say that puts It's Jen in the lead with 8 points, and Luke and Eli are in second, both at 6. And I think it's safe to say that we could probably call it there, and Luke and Eli will just give you each $20 gift cards instead of a 20 and a 15. And that way you get a little bit more without all the competition.
Good job.
Again, yeah,
nice work.
I'll cover.
That was fun.
I'll cover the other $5 if you can tell me why it's 31 gallons.
I just Googled it and I couldn't find out, but now I need to know. So
well, okay, so here I've been doing this for 4 years now. Google doesn't answer it.
Tell me, why is it an inch? Why is it a foot? Riddle me that, Batman.
Yeah, because it's the size of the barrel, but I could make the size of the barrel anything. I could make it because I believe oil is a 50-gallon drum, right? I can make my barrel any size. I don't know why a barrel of alcohol, wine or beer is 31 gallons. I don't.
All right, so Thomas is going to buy anyone a beer that gets that figured out. So go ahead and accept that challenge.
Yeah, go for it. Tell me. Been looking for years. I'll go to my grave just wide awake. What was it?
I want to take the opportunity to invite Thomas and Peter to maybe share any last tidbits they want to with us. And I want to invite attendees to put any last comments or questions they have in chat. And Renee, anything you'd like to say before we close out here tonight?
I just want to say thank you again to everybody who's here. Thanks, Kristen, and thanks, Peter and Thomas, for sharing your secret game with everybody.
Letting us in your heads for a
night.
Yes.
It's a
no, really, I've learned so much tonight. So thank you. And thanks for doing this with us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us and for sticking around. I know that our heads can be kind of scary places to be sometimes, but we always have fun with this event, and I hope that we can do more. I would also like to say that for everybody who signed up and came in and got your packets, we did have a bit of a supply chain problem, and you were given 12-ounce tulip glasses. If you would like a bigger one, we will be getting 16-ounce tulip glasses coming in sometime at the end of October, and you're more than welcome to bring yours down and exchange it for a bigger one. But yeah,
12 ounces is a little safer for me.
Depends on the beer you're drinking, right? But yeah, thanks again so much. We've had a great time, and we love partnering with you guys and everything that you do. And we just appreciate the opportunity to get out there and taste some beer.
Great. Well, I just want to thank you guys again. I had so much fun. I'm so glad we were joined tonight by the Humane Society. Renee, it was great to see you. And I just want to thank all of our attendees and our participants. Thank you for participating in chat, making this such a fun night. Thank you for participating in the trivia. And thank you for supporting the museum and the Humane Society through your ticket sales. We are both so thankful for your support. Hope everyone has a great night. Wishing you
Oh,
luck.
and sorry, one last thing. Luke and Eli and Jen, we will get your guys' names. I think Jill got them down at some point. And if you want to just come down to the brewery, we'll have your gift cards ready for you anytime after tomorrow.
Yep. Real quick, I'm sorry. I know you said that was the last thing. Puppy keg pull. Looking to
Yes.
partner again with the Humane Society like we did last year. Last year we had kegs being pulled by dogs. All the proceeds went to the Humane Society. It was a great blast. Be looking out for that. Sometime in the winter, January, February, March, somewhere in there, we'll make that happen again.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. And you can safely social distance. So,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
Thank you guys.
We'll be looking forward to it. Bye,
Yeah.
everyone. Have a
bye,
great night.
guys.
Have a great night.
Cheers.